Hi, this is where we left off last time in the project. What I want to introduce you to this time is some of the options in the menu bar that will help your workflow. It will enable you to work faster because there's certain keyboard shortcuts. And as we're working through GarageBand, each time I set your project, one of your responsibilities is going to be to track down and use some of the keyboard shortcuts to improve your workflow. And so let's take a look. Firstly, under GarageBand, the most important one is Preferences. It's a global option. And there's general settings, of which the one to look at right now would be the metronome. The metronome is a built-in timekeeper, and what this timekeeper does is it plays back a horrible note. So it's a bip, bop, bop, bop type sound that plays across your track, but it plays at this tempo or whichever tempo you have set. So I can click on this and slow down our tempo to 110, and that metronome will always follow that tempo. So if I go back up here and I go to Preferences, I'm going to say let's listen to the metronome not just during recording, which is the default, but during playback and recording. So now when I hit play and I start the timeline here without those drums in the background, you should hear the metronome. Can you hear the accent on the downbeat? So bip, bop, 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 bip, bop, bop, bop. Now the loops that you drag in should automatically fit to that metronome, thus to this tempo. But once you start programming material, you might find that you have a tendency to not play in time, or to play in a drum groove according to the tempo that's in your head and not the tempo that is set by the computer. So what you might want to do is make sure that that metronome is turned on, so that as you're playing in your kick drum snare, kick drum snare, kick drum snare, you're actually playing it at the tempo of the track. So for example, kick and snare and kick and snare, or kick, kick, snare and kick, kick, snare. It might seem a bit weird at first if you've not done it, but it's going to really reap rewards as long as you always need to try and keep your programming in time to that tempo. So let's go back down the timeline and let's open up the next button that's important, and that would be saving your work. The first time you save your work, save as, label it GarageBand 0, 1 through 15, whichever project, whichever period, and then from then on, when you hit save, it will automatically save it to the correct destination that you selected initially, and it will give it this title. The next options here are to be able to copy, paste, delete, and split tracks, and you'll notice a lot of these are grayed out. Well, I need to select a loop to be able to actually manipulate that loop. So let's look at this drums here. I'm going to move this red line known as the playhead. I'm going to move it to measure 3, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this track at the playhead. I want to make it look like this one. I'm going to cut it in half. So if I go to Edit, see Split, I can either click on this right now and it will split it. I'm going to move that so you can see it. I'll undo it with Command Z. Command Z is our undo feature. Because what we can also do is click on the shortcut, which is Command T. So right now I'm going to my keyboard, Command T. There we go, we just split the track. Now, because both blues are highlighted right now, if I move them, they're both going to get dragged along. But if I click outside and just select one, when I move it, we're just moving one. Okay. Now, what else can we do under Edit? We can copy and paste a loop. So let's grab these ones and let's copy and paste them from measure 5 to measure 9. Now we have two options. One is just to loop them. We're not actually making a copy of it, we're just dragging the loop out, and it's going to replay exactly what it played here. So let's take that back. What I want to do is I want to make a physical copy of these ones here and place them here. So wherever I want these loops to get pasted to, that's where I want the playhead to start. Then I'm going to grab hold of what I want, and in a Mac, your copy, rather than being Control-C and then paste Control-V, on a Mac it's the Apple or Command keyboard. So on your keyboard it should say Command and show you that symbol. So I'll press on my keyboard Command-C, and then I'm going to press Command-V, and it's placed them in the right position because I had this playhead at the correct place. So now we're starting to build our arrangement. It's still only rhythmical, so let's find something else to bring in. Let's quickly bring in a loop. So I'll go over here. I've chosen acoustic piano loop 2. Let's listen. Okay, it's a very Cuban style loop. It might work. I'll bring that in to the timeline. Sorry, my mouse just got stuck and it went there, so I'm going to move it now. We'll bring the piano in at measure 3. It seemed quite repetitive to me, so I think what I might need to do is bring in a different sound. So let me try one of these pianos. I don't like that one. I'm not keen on that one. Yeah, that's the one for me. I'll place that here on a new track again, remember? And then I want to go back to this original idea. So I'll press, I'll move this to here, which is 7. I'll press Command C, and then when I press Command V, it will populate here. There we go. So we're starting to generate an arrangement here. You get the idea. We're starting to build something up here by copying and pasting and then dragging out loops. The only other thing I wanted to show you in the tutorial today that will help you on your first project is if we look at the control button here, the track button. Look at the track button. We have the options to show certain hidden features, and the one that's most important here is going to be the show master track. So if I click on here and then you look at the bottom of the screen, a master track will appear. Okay, I'm going to probably be asking you to fade your composition. So we need to fade all of these tracks at the same time. Now we don't want to go in and do an automation fade on all these faders here so that we're creating ourselves work 4 times over. We just want to fade the whole track in one go. So I click on this line and a circle will appear where I want it to fade. I'm going to click on the line at another point where I want the song to have transitioned by, and then once I've done that I can grab on that little circle and drag it up or down. So what I'm effectively doing here is I'm going to fade out the whole song. So let's quickly listen to that. That's how you do a master fade. To undo that, we can do Command Z, it'll undo the last thing I did, or we can simply click on the selected circle and press delete. Click on, press delete, and we've undone our work. And you have the option to turn the master volume off or on. So you're starting to see that the menu bar can be your friend for learning shortcuts, for clicking and selecting and actually enacting the split or the copy or the paste, and then you can show or hide certain features. I think we'll leave this tutorial at that point. Thanks for listening.